What's up, guys, and welcome back to Planet Coaster 2. If you're enjoying this series, make sure to leave a like on the video. It would be greatly appreciated. I have been very busy this morning, just trying to come up with a better plan for our minecart coaster that we started working on previously. So what I've decided is that I wanted the structure for it to look like a furnace or a forge, smeltery, foundry, you know, that type of thing. Honestly, those are all really good names. I should probably write those down. And speaking of names, we've got to head over here and rename Lone Star Station to World Station. I also kind of thought it would be funny to rename it World Star Station, but hopefully we won't have any guests fighting inside of here. Does this ever happen to any of you? The longer I stare at this, the more incorrect the spelling seems to me. And I don't really know why. It's correct. I mean, it's accurate. Anyways, that's not our main objective for today. We're still going to continue working on this beautiful main attraction out here in the mild west zone. So, as I said, the name will likely be Smeltery, Foundry, Furnace, you know, something along those lines. So obviously it had to have a big ol' heckin' smokestack out the back of it. I think that turned out really nice. I used that same rough brick that we were using on our smaller little like miners' cabins over there, but we changed the color up slightly. I tried to make it a little bit more orangey, and I think it works. I think it looks pretty good. I know I say that all the time, but it's decent. And then round the front here, I really wanted it to look like it was getting powered somehow. You know what I mean? So we've got this massive water wheel here. Got some water pouring down from these pipes. And let me just talk about the pipes for a second, because I know what you're thinking, Toogii. You kind of took the Western theme and you made it a little bit more steampunk with these pipes. And I 100% agree with you, but there really isn't a better option for pipes as far as pipes go. I could have made like some custom ones out of some scenery shapes and stuff, but I really did like the default. There it is, the default color for those pipes. I thought it worked out here, man. It's sort of like a rusty iron looking material. It's pretty solid. Why are we not moving? What's the holdup here? Are we trying to get 3 more people in this back car? What's going on? Who's the operator for this? Letta, what's going on? Attending Swaying Mine Train 6. You are here, but the train doesn't appear to be operational. Maybe we're gonna have to close her down and reopen. Letta might even just need a break. Hang on, she's gonna turn right back around. Hopefully all these people, okay, good, they're still, oh. I wonder, nope, never mind. That didn't make any difference whatsoever. I was gonna say, I wonder if, you know, widening that queue path made any sort of difference, but doesn't look like it did. And there it goes. Okay, we just did the age-old IT fix of turning it off and turning it back on again. Now all of a sudden it works. So the track itself does still need to be reworked, as I said in the previous episode. I'd love for this thing to be quite a bit longer, like the ride duration. I want that to be longer. And then you probably already noticed how our guests and our staff are able to just walk right over top of this water. We're gonna fix that as well later on today, but it was important to me that we have a water wheel, and the water had to come from somewhere, right? This is supposed to be the mild west after all. So over here we have sort of a natural spring type of thing kind of coming out of this mesa biome, if you will. Minecraft reference. And then first waterfall leads into second waterfall, which finally leads into this like larger water basin. And I'm imagining that there's enough of a current to spin the water wheel, but just in case there isn't, the facility also picks up water here and pumps it up onto the roof, and that also helps sort of spin that water wheel. I just really like the way that came together. The water spraying, I gotta be honest, doesn't look that great. It's just a bunch of water jets all kind of crammed into the tail end of that pipe. It works. I just feel like maybe it could be better somehow. I don't know how though. So bridges we'll work on, and then this is kind of just the excess water runoff, I guess. This area is very sketch. If somebody even just jumps right here, right on this lip, this entire thing is just gonna flood down into the canyon, which is obviously less than ideal, but is game, so that's not gonna happen, thankfully. And then right over here next to the Motherlode Motel, we've got an additional miner's cabin. It's the same as the orange one that we built before, but everything's sort of been mirrored, right? Everything's kind of flip-flopped around. And obviously the color's been changed from that burnt orange to more of a yellow, a shade of yellow, like a yellow brown. I don't really know how to describe it. Anyways, that's enough yapping. The first thing that we're gonna work on today is adding in some custom bridges so that our guests and our staff aren't just walking over nothing. They're literally walking on water. It's very scary. I want to start with some logs for this. I want to kind of use them for the sides of this bridge, as long as we can scale them. Yeah, it looks like we can. Let's bring these down to like 50%. It was an 8-meter long log. Now it's a 4-meter long log, but it's a little bit skinnier, so I think it'll work a little bit better for us. And you know what? Something I just realized, we have several wooden structures in this zone, yet there aren't any trees. I mean, you could count these too, right? But they were kind of there before. I didn't actually place any of those. So real quick, I know scatterbrain, squirrel brain is in full effect today. I don't want palm trees. I don't want like big bushy looking trees. No ferns either. Here we go. Pine trees. That could work. What's this called? A ponderosa pine tree. I like that too because it's giving redwood, right? I don't even think that they have... No, they don't have redwoods in here, but this could work. I'm going to get... It looks like there's maybe 3 variants of this. So I'm going to kind of start just scattering these 3 variants all around this area. Or you know what? Let's just leave them there for the time being, and we'll come back to it. I'm already kind of jumping around from one thing to the next. So we're gonna lock in on this bridge and start to sort of piece it together. Okay, I feel like I'm maybe onto something here. I went ahead and made sort of like a little pattern out of these wood planks just to try to make it as organic looking as possible. Some of them have been rotated around as well, so it's not a super repetitive pattern or texture. It might not look like much right meow. I need a few more minutes, all right? Just trust the process. I decided to change up the color of a few of the boards to sort of help with the repetitive nature of it all, and it helped slightly. We've got the Western themed railing now. Unfortunately, we can't change the color of it. It is what it is, but since we've used it elsewhere, I think when we have it all fenced in, it'll come together a little bit nicer. I think the only other thing that we really need here are just some additional log supports. We'll do one under each of the fence posts in the middle, same on the other side, and then we can duplicate the whole shebang and slap another one down right yonder. You know what? That actually turned out better than I was expecting. I don't know why, but I was just really, really stressing over these bridges. I guess I need to trust in my own process a little bit more. But now that we're finished with that, I gotta tweak the queue, the prio queue and the main queue for this ride ever so slightly. What I'd really love to do is try to incorporate this Rancher's Gateway piece into it some way, somehow. I've been wanting to use this out here for the longest time, and I just haven't found the right place for it. So if I can get these 2 queues a little bit closer together, I think we could probably make this work as well. I don't know about you guys, but I, for one, am loving the way that this is all coming together. We've got our Rancher's Gateway in position. I did decide to rework the queues a little bit, kind of make them flow more naturally, you know, less less hard lines, less straight paths, and more of a flowing sort of curvature going on there. I think it looks great. I really do. Now, I want to turn my attention back to the building because I'm just not super crazy about the brown. I mean, we've already got another brown building out here, that being the Guns and Grub Saloon, of course. So just to hopefully make the building stand out on its own a little bit more, I think I'm gonna opt for either a black exterior or maybe even just like a really dark gray, kind of like the gateway there. And since these two buildings are so similar, I'm gonna do a little test hit for color on the smaller one before the big one. That way we don't get all the way through the large structure only to realize that it was better off brown. Okay, yep, dark gray was definitely the move. I tried black as well, but it was almost too dark. Like, a lot of the details of the building sort of got lost in the shadows, but I think we'll be able to leave the wood that's connected to the roof as that kind of natural wood look. But now, I need to turn my attention to this big old behemoth. So I'll see you guys here in just a few minutes.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
You guys will have to let me know what you think of it now down in the comments. I personally think it looks way better than it did before. Something about a simple color change just kind of helps it stand out on its own a little bit more. The very last thing that I need to do to this, though, is just kind of clean up this exit path a little bit. I think I'm going to go for a invis gravel path instead of the rustic path, but then we've got to start tweaking the track, ladies and gents. We've got some changes to make. That's probably an understatement. And there we go, ladies and gents. Nothing too crazy. Just kind of helps it blend into the zone a little bit better. So, I know some of you maybe won't agree with what I'm about to say, but I don't think that the entire track layout is bad necessarily. In fact, I like the initial descent. I like how slow it goes through here. The only real big change that we need to make is we have to animate these doors or get them to open as the trains are approaching, if that makes any sense. After this, if we just extend the chain lift a little bit and kind of have it go, you know, through this mountain or even through these like bluff things that we created a long time ago, just to get it to circle back to this point, then I think it can continue on back into the station sort of as it is now. That's what I saw a lot of you guys recommending anyways, so that's what I'm going to try to do. Unfortunately, these guests are never going to be able to complete their ride because it's got to be closed now. Sorry about that, and we'll start our edit. Before we go on our first test ride together, I have already completed a test. You can see the results up there in the top right. We have a negative 4.5 G turn right here. I'm pretty sure it's a 90-degree turn, and you hit it with some serious speed. So I went ahead and just Googled real quick, could the human body survive a 4.5 G lateral force? And it says a 4.5 G turn is near the limit and may cause gray out or temporary loss of vision. With that being said, let's go ahead and test this sucker. You've been warned though. All right, you have been warned. So again, this first bit here, all the same as it was. Still haven't triggered the doors either. I need to. I will. I will definitely do that. There's even a second part now where we could do some additional doors. Might be cool. Could be somewhere around that 90-degree turn. And that might be the only reason that 90-degree turn is even there in the first place. This is very slow. I don't know, maybe we should just church up the chain lift speed a little bit. It's only at like 5 miles per hour, right, Meow? But here we go, ladies and gents. Hang on. Don't worry about that tree either. We'll move the trees. I was just focused on the track, all right? You might want to brace for this next part. Yeah, it's pretty abrupt. It is a pretty abrupt turn, and that bit too, I didn't realize that was so harsh. And then this, again, same as it was before. No change out here. I should probably go around and just like smooth everything as well. That might help. And then it's very, very slow coming back into the station. But as soon as it does, we'll get our results. Dude, we have a prestige already. I did test it once before. We have a prestige of 1,000. I don't know this for certain, but that might be the best prestige of any coaster that I have personally assembled, if you even want to call it that. This might be a death trap for all of our guests, but 11% of them are saying that they're really excited, just waiting to get on this. Let's go ahead and open her up, dude. We might as well. Wait, are there 3 trains? Oh no, that's the second one. It left the station again already. All right, there we are. We are open for business. Now though, I'm gonna do the trigger for the doors and also like clean up all the vegetation that we're just kind of Danny Phantoming through.
1 hour later.
All right, ladies and gents, the terrain has all been edited. All the plants have been rearranged if they were interfering with the track at all. And I'm hoping that I got our trigger sequences for these doors figured out. But there's only one way to know for sure, and that's to test her out yet again in first-person view. Beautiful. Beautiful. 1 down, 1 to go. If this one doesn't open, we're kind of screwed. Okay, we're golden. We're golden, dudes and dudettes. That's a good feeling. And then we've seen the rest of this. I don't think we really need to experience it again. But there we go. The ride is definitely not done necessarily. I think there's a lot more decor and stuff that we could add. Maybe a couple of spots underground where we could put like some animatronics or some type of scene, whether it's miners doing what they do and mining or something else. Maybe some cowboys having a shootout or something. The building too, I feel like needs maybe a little bit more decoration. We definitely need more plants. You could always use more plants. It's just not my favorite thing to spend time on. But on that note, ladies and gents, unfortunately, that is where we're going to have to wind things down at for today. Once again, if you guys did enjoy, please leave a like, leave a comment, help support the dream by smashing that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Peace.